Hey there folks, Wrel here, and welcome to another episode of YouTube Proper, which is a series dedicated to helping grow your channel and your internet community. So today we're going to be quickly going over the do's and don'ts of how to make content for longevity. On average, the majority of people who will view your videos will do so within a few days of it coming out. But depending on the type of content, you still want to design it with the potential for viewership a week, a month, or even years after the time you post it. That said, here are some tips to create videos that last. The first tip is to just cut out the fat that won't be relevant a day, a week, or a month from now. I see too many videos where creators will spend the first 2 minutes apologizing for their lack of content lately, or talking about what's been going on in their life, and if you're doing a guide, a review, or a tips video, what you did or didn't do last week just isn't relevant outside of the time that you post your video. If your channel is based on reviews, guides, tips and tricks, and that sort of thing, the time and place for remarking on what's been going on lately should be done in a channel update. If your channel revolves around producing timely content, like the Philip DeFranco show, or MMO Attack, or another newsy type show, then it's a little bit more acceptable, but even that is a stretch. If you have a cold or if you're sick at the time of recording the video and your voice is a little bit off, then you say that you're sick and your voice is a little bit off. It frames the expectations for your current video, which is much different and much more important than remarking on something that may not relate to the video a week, a month, or a year from now. But as a side note, if you do that, you want to keep it short and to the point. I've included an example of an older video that demonstrates exactly this within the first 5 seconds. The second tip is to try to update your videos when they start to lose their relevance. When I reviewed the Spiker pistol, the review was outdated like 2 weeks after the video was put out, and that was the same for the Baron shotgun review. So it's important that I update each of those videos in some way so that I'm not handing out incorrect information. For the Spiker review, I put in capital letters, outdated, right in the title, because the weapon had undergone a drastic enough revision that the review just wouldn't be relevant anymore. Entertaining maybe, but relevant not so much. For the Baron reviews, however, I did not mark them as outdated in the title, because they're still very relevant except for one main part. In the reviews on the Baron, I'm talking about how the slow reload speed is holding the weapon back, and a week later the reload speeds ended up getting improved, which again was my major hang-up during the video. That's not enough to mark a review as outdated in big capital letters because people will immediately think that the whole review is out of date, which it isn't. It is, however, important that I list the change in the video description and maybe through an annotation. People need to be aware that that segment of the video is no longer accurate. I oftentimes get comments on older videos where people ask me, how much did this change since the video was released, or how relevant is this video still? And I'll reply with the information if I can. Sometimes the video is still relevant outside of a couple of changes, and sometimes it's not relevant at all. And sometimes just my opinion on something will have evolved. In which case, I'll thank the person who brought it to my attention, and then I'll mark the video as appropriate. This sort of maintenance is extremely important for the health of your channel, as well as the player base, if you intend to be a source of helpful information. The third tip is to keep an eye on the future, or anticipate upcoming changes. At the time of making this video, I'm holding off on reviewing Spitfire turrets, and I'm holding off on making a new knifing guide, because I believe that both of those things are likely to get some tweaks in the near future. What's really funny though is that as far as view count goes, this generally isn't a good idea. People want to see videos of the newest stuff, even if it becomes outdated the next day. They want to see updates on the public test server that aren't even close to being released, because we live in a now society and it annoys the crap out of me. But this commentary is on how to create content that lasts, opposed to short-lived view boosters. If you have time enough to do both, then good on you, you can definitely do both, but if your time is limited, like mine is, I feel that it's much more important to play the long game, and then you supplement with timely content. That's honestly one of the reasons that this channel has been around for as long as it has, and it'll also help you avoid burnout when you can do content at your own pace, instead of at the pace that the game seems to be setting for you. The fourth and final tip is to just use the phrase, "at the time of making this video," like you just heard me use a moment ago. For some reason, a lot of people will watch a video and they'll think that it was just released, unless they're actually looking at the date of the video. This is also part of the reason why you want to mark certain videos as outdated, or else you get people making comments about how you're wrong about X, Y, or Z, even though part of the game may have just changed since that video was released. You don't want to overuse the phrase. In fact, you should be using it pretty rarely. But when it comes to a personal opinion, a decision, or a bug, or the current state of the game, something that's likely to change, it's a good idea to frame what you're talking about with that phrase. So hopefully those 4 quick tips will help you avoid some of these extremely common pitfalls that I think a lot of people don't notice that they're doing, or even tend to think about when they're focused on content creation. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and I do have a whole playlist dedicated to helping you grow your channel, so definitely give it a look if you're interested. Thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.